lessons involved, contracts. Welcome back to Pisces TV with Montana B. This is a reading for Pisces, Sun, Moon, Venus, and Rising. Wherever Pisces may fall in your chart or in your environment, keep in mind that tarot is entertainment. If it does not resonate with you, you don't have to make it. This is a very special reading as we talk about love, finances, and even the daily vibe, a little bit of astrology, horoscope, all kind of stuff, near future, full moons and whatnot. But we also have life purpose, motivation. You know, what am I here for? Am I on path? And so I do specialize in those readings, and this is one specially dedicated to that. Now, if you are new to the channel, check the description box as there's a link to my web store. You can book a reading, check out the products and services, as well as follow me online. So if you're on Instagram and Twitter, I am there at iBuns. We also have a link to the Patreon membership platform. So I always shout out my sharks and mermaids and to my fishies, where the extended to the life purpose videos are. So all of my fishies, and if you are a member here on YouTube, there's a membership section just for that, where the extended to this video will be located to go into detail about what appears to be some shadow work. Okay, and a lot of you ask me about that, so it's crazy the card finally came out. Could also be the root of an issue, because it was the first card that shuffled, and you know I like to do threes. So as we get started, like, share, subscribe. I am posting the new contest for December at midnight if I'm awake, in the morning if I'm not. So if you're interested in winning a free reading, I did 3 winners in November. I'm doing more than that in December to give everybody a fair shot, okay? Now, shadow work coming out as the first card, you know, considering the archetype guidebook and what they, you know, I got a 3-card system and so do they. So this card came out first. It could point to relationships, the origin of an issue, the current situation, and then they have lovers. So that's crazy. They got primary relationships and lovers for some of you, but it talks about navigating to the core of fears, habits, stuckness, things that are repeating into your life, people, okay, situations. And so we're going to read from the guidebook what shadow work is according to the wild unknown. And then also, as I find the card in the book, shadow work is that tower energy where we always say, you know, we're separating from the shadow side. Now, if and when you get to that level, you have an ability to actually work with your light and your darkness, whatever that may be, because we're all born with a sun sign, a moon sign, a Lilith, you know, the dark moon sign. So as you continue your journey in self-mastery, you learn to work with all of your energy. But sometimes if it's out of balance and in excess, we may need to do what is called shadow work if that shadow energy is hindering, you know, progression. So I found it. The shadow and what I saw to be shadow work talks about the unspeakable, the unwelcome, the denied. So is it a part of you that you're tucking away? Do you feel like the black sheep, cast out, or something like that? It says, although every card in the archetypes deck has a shadow potential, see the duality, this card asks us to delve into the qualities of the shadow itself. Okay, maybe there's nothing to be afraid of. We often think that the shadow can be purified, illuminated, and made right through effort and achievement. However, it is typically the case that our lofty pursuit of ascension and perfection is the very source of shadow material itself. So by rejecting parts of ourselves and the world, we begin to separate from the whole. And didn't I just say that? Black sheep, outcast, all that kind of energy. Shout out to outcast though, you know, 3 steps. It says here, this is denial, okay? Denial is when rather than getting to know the qualities and content of our shadow, we busy ourselves with avoiding its presence. So doing everything else outside of what needs to be done. And I have heard that on YouTube in readings. Not sure what card pushed them to say that, but here it is. Could be an oracle card or just, intuition, where it's like staying busy to avoid something. Okay? We don't want to do that because it's still there. Now, and also, like the book says, it is denial. So when this card appears, it is time to take inventory of those things you've been denying. When the mind responds with no, anything but that, you are touching shadow. Find support for this deep inner work and move toward the shadow with patience and compassion. So revealing unconscious aspects of the self and the world. And the shadow of the gods are the very gods themselves. Reflect on this statement by James Hillman in A Blue Fire. What do you despise about yourself? By answering, you move toward shadow. So for all that have been asking, what is shadow work? How do we do shadow work? Can we talk more about shadow work? We are going to get into the extended and talk a little bit about it. And I also have guided meditations here on YouTube to kind of help with that. But we'll continue first with your second and third card, right? So here's the first card, which, like I said, kind of took over. It also talks about the root. So the root chakra, the root source of the problem, look into the root chakra and, the color red and, any associations with the root, especially for my lovers' relationships or, involving your stability in finances or instability, having issues with authority, feeling the need to defend yourself or just feeling like, not belonging and stuff like that. So the second card, which I haven't shuffled out yet because I'm still holding the book, but I will. It talks about the heart. So this could tell us something about what matters, something about your heart, the heart chakra. It says that this card will tell you a deep longing, calling, or conflict that is the center of all centers of the psyche. All right. So it says without knowing and spending time with the energy within the heart, one can never be satisfied. So is there something in the heart that's being avoided, creating this shadow energy that we just spoke of in the root? Not sure. But let's see. What do we have for the heart? And I think they are implying that it's the heart of the matter. So the root cause of the matter and the heart of the matter are different. And I also feel like they're talking about the chakras. So here, the root chakra is very significant and essential when it comes to the underworld. So don't get all creeped out. The underworld is not hell. This life, living, working, bills, the underworld is materialism, so away from spirituality, what's on the ground. This may also go deeper down below the ground because I see little eyes. So it talks about something beneath the surface. And we'll read from the guidebook, but that's cool. You have the shadow, the underworld, and both of these places, I don't want to say are kind of dark, but it is so perfect for those of you that, like I said, have been intuitively feeling, especially coming into the new year. That's always exciting. I'm so glad we have calendars. What if time just went on and on forever and ever? We didn't have birthdays, holidays, New Year's, end of the year. You're a Pisces, we're creative, and honey, I don't know if I just want something to go on and on and on and on forever without no breaking points or anything. So I have been celebrating the new year since maybe summer. And as we get closer and closer, I encourage you all to get excited about it. So anyway, the underworld talks about the nightmare, the ordeal, the bottom. So is this the bottom of your heart? This is no time to mince words. The archetypal territory of the underworld is fraught with nightmares, suffering, and pain. It is the darkest shadow realm which we try vigilantly to avoid or deny at any cost. So same energy. Try as we might, the darkness pulls us into the depths through disturbing dreams, images, unexpected accidents, illness, war, conflict, and untimely death. So this could have been in your past life. This could be things happening in this life, and also currently, present, past, and future. Now, I only brought that up because I do like past life regression work, and I'm studying it. And it also talks about how we pass. If we had an unexpected death or an accidental death or anything that just kind of left you bewildered, that's kind of how people have unfinished business, and you reincarnate with pretty much the same energy, but unfortunately don't even know why, right? So we got to do the shadow work to get in the subconscious, in the conscious, in your heart, in the root, and figure this out. If you're interested in that, you can email me too, and we can work on that. It's in the description box if you want to contact me. But yeah, war, conflict, all the kind of stuff. We are in the middle of a pandemic, right? You could have suffered a loss through family, through relationships, because it says untimely endings, unexpected misfortune, right? Not visiting the underworld or denying its existence altogether is what gives it dangerous power. So being in fear of death, war, accidents, tower moments gives it strength because it feeds off of fear. Okay? Traversing its force. Transversing it forces us to bow humbly to the greater force that be, while summoning the inner strength we previously underestimated. So take solace that the underworld subsumes everyone from time to time, making us deeper friends, more intimate partners, soldiers of light in our shadowy times. Facing darkness and choosing light is the most profound calling of all. So it talks about bravery, depth, facing our deepest fears. So for some of you, the shadow energy that could be hindering you, right, in the back of your mind right now, is actually something that you fear in the unconscious, subconscious mind, something that's being suppressed. And some of you, it's even suppressing parts of yourself. For those of us that often get those Hierophant, Five of Pentacles, changing beliefs, limited beliefs, religious beliefs, beliefs when it comes to marriage, monogamy, how to teach children, how to raise children, and what the world says is right, what you feel is right. Those are all beliefs. Those are all things that could be in denial if you have a certain status quo or goals. Make sure you are being your true self, because the reading that we had today in the Daily Vibe that highlighted the magician and the magician's gifts, sources behind that magician. That magician did not have to twist, turn, bend, and fold for status quo or for society. So truly being yourself is a superpower. So just wanted to throw that out there. So the third card, the archetypal energy of the divinity within. This card represents the part of you that wants to reach beyond the self. So let's see what's being suppressed, or even what is causing you fear? What's causing you conflict? What are you suppressing? Could be a gift, could be a fear. This is like the hopes and fears kind of section. So take from it what you will. And I want to give you an opportunity to jump at me. I don't know if you guys have shuffled circular cards, but it's a little different. And I just want that hope or that fear or that side of you to kind of show itself. Okay, we have the I and the L. Okay, the box is at the bottom of the deck. So somebody's thinking outside of the box, or wants to think outside of the box, needs to think outside of the box. And then the mirror. Okay, so maybe doing some mirror work, looking deep down off into your soul. Who's the person? What is it that's looking back at you? So here we have it. The Roman numeral L. They should just say the letter number, right? That would be easier, but I'm silly. The liminal. So we talk about millennials, but this is the liminal, the in between, the transition. When the veil between the life and the next is thinned, energy is stirred. This allows for remarkable healing and visions. It is said that the bardo is a place between this life and the next, a liminal realm through which souls pass. Envisioning this inherently mysterious space creates the potential for us to rise above the concerns of this world and see our relationships through a cosmic and timeless lens. We may receive messages from those who are no longer with us or see visions of life not yet lived. In the bardo, there is potential to forgive the unforgivable, to say the unsaid, to see the unseen, to love the unloved, to let go of the things that cause us pain. The bardo suspends us in its spaciousness for just long enough to open us to higher wisdom. Its energy does not belong to Earth as we know it, but rather the cosmic network of which we are a single thread. So, threads and cords, connections, when I think about the in-between, as this is an oracle card, the tarot card associated with the in-between is the Five of Pentacles, as well as the Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords does talk about fears, schizophrenia, nervousness, anxiety, the in-between, like the hidden, not fully showing yourself, hiding a bit of it. It's air energy. I think it's associated with Libra. And it just talks about, for some of you, where it's like nervous tension. So if I want to be general to kind of like help everyone, it does talk about nervousness. So kind of just being like nervous about the future, because we're talking about the in-between transition, life and death. For some of you, it could be a fear of, death, accidents, pain, and suffering. It's like, why are you so afraid of that? Some people may say, well, why not? Why not be afraid? But I'm thinking about the King of Cups and his fears. And some people may be afraid of things that you can't control. And notice that in this guidebook, it says that it doesn't belong to the earth. It doesn't belong to anything but the cosmic network in which we live in. So we're on Earth, underworld, whatever you want to call it. And some people may feel that we've reached certain levels of mastery here. We understand certain things, but not many people understand life from a scientific standpoint, a spiritual standpoint, a metaphysical standpoint. It's debatable, but they haven't bottled up and created life yet. And I'm not talking about cloning. I'm talking about the pure essence of life. They haven't figured that out, nor have they concluded death. Even as a card reader, you can look into people who, after someone dies, finds clues and says, this person was destined for this, that, and the other. But there's no prediction of the exact moment in time sometimes that things end, relationships end. And it's just that fear of it happening any moment that keeps, people in such nervous uproars. However, every moment that doesn't happen is a reminder that you kind of wasted a moment. So do we anticipate the worst and waste precious time? Or do we overcome our fears and live in the moment? You see what I mean? And I'm open. This is a safe space. My fears revolved around finances. I had fears that revolved around death. That is trauma. It's scientific. It's proof. It's things, it's things that we can look into and not blame life, spirituality, curses and hexes and jinxes, even though all of those things are possible. But me being brought up, I feel, in an economically challenged environment means that I experienced more challenging situations financially, or saw them, or were in the environment of others that experienced that. So in my mind, that was more likely to happen than something better. However, if you took someone that stayed, 12 exits up in the suburbs or something like that, they may not have experienced financial hardship, the way I did, so they don't expect it the way I do. And it's not even, I've read something the other day that says a lion wouldn't eat grass even if it was starving. I think that's kind of stubborn, but initially I liked it because it was like, if you don't want grass, you don't eat grass. You know, you go out and get it. The point was to not see another way. Okay, so that's one thing. And then when I talk about trauma, when you lose people, especially unexpectedly, or, you know, if you come from a certain ethnicity that may have faced trauma, if you came from military and you faced trauma, and then if you're a descendant of either of those, where illness, war, unexpected accidents, and death just happen repeatedly, and we reincarnate, that is trauma that they're now inducing into science as fact and plausible to be passed down in hereditary. So when I talk about your true self, which I'm so glad I mentioned when we started the video, your true self has nothing to do with your ancestors' genes when it comes to blood. You may have some celestial ancestors or something, I don't know. But here on this earth, when we cross this gray area, the shadow or whatever, their traumas, their blood, their economic status, their is not your true self. Those are all little pieces of data that may have saved to your memory card. But if your memory card was wiped clean, that is true self. And so that is what I help with. And that is how I help myself when dealing with outside circumstances, like the invisible fears, unknowns. And then some of you that actually have nightmares and, you know, stuff like that, those are just probably past experiences and memories. And you have to be okay, safe, and understanding in the knowing that that is not this life. That may be from a past life. You're not seeing premonitions of the future, more than likely. I won't step on anyone's toes who thinks that's what it is, but it's kind of just like you lived it, you have to release it. But like I said, that's another story, right? So I do help with that, and I'm more than willing to help any of you, even if it's just, you know, getting you a reading to see what it is for you personally, because this is a general conversation of shadow work, the underworld, the in-between, and some of the darker energies. Now here is the Queen of Swords, and that Nine of Swords is her card. And guess what her strength is? Intelligence, receptivity. So she doesn't resist what she receives. She doesn't resist being, you know, nervous energy. She doesn't resist the shadow, the darkness, the bad side, the good side. She's intelligent. So that says I have to process this energy and process this information and using my logic. Now, for some of you, this is amazing because we are in this Gemini energy of the full moon before we bounce over into Cancer. So perfect time for me to do this reading before double emphasis on the moon and emotions and subconscious or pinpointing. But this is your current energy, okay? The Queen of Swords can handle her energy because that the Nine of Swords is her card. And she is also kind of like entangled in the Justice card, which talks about truth. You have to be intelligent to discern truth, okay? I didn't say have a doctrines degree. I didn't say be the smartest person on the block. I said be an intelligent human being that your organs, your brain, your nervous system is almost a mirror or identical to the universe and components of the universe. So I don't care at what level you grade yourself, you have the capacity to be very intelligent and to harness your energy. On the bottom of the deck, we have Judgment. Judgment does talk about discernment. Others of you, it's still that energy of resurrection, endings, you know, final callings and answers. You know what I'm saying? So dope. It is also the Judgment card in tarot is Archangel Gabriel, who stands, you know, next to God and all the angels and ascended masters or whatnot with the scroll. And the scroll is a record of exactly what I was talking about in this reading, per se. It's debatable. Of past actions, thoughts, things that you've done, you know, things that have been done to you, whatever the case may be. It's just a record keeper. Like if we were in court, the Queen of Swords, you know, being Lady Justice, and we're in court, Gabrielle would be the one who just takes notes, not on any one side, you know, just take notes, take the records, right? So some of you guys may even do meditations and going into the Akashic records so that you can see. Some of you just need proof that, okay, this happened in a past life. I can let this go, because for some reason we sometimes hold it as who we are, and what's to come, or we don't even process it at all or know what it is. We just kind of deal with it like, oh, you know, I'm an eyeball, I'm a black sheep, or, you know, my family had disorders and I'm just, you know, trying to break that curse or whatever. But you got the Queen of Swords, which is receptivity, intelligence, setting healthy boundaries. So you know not to go too far down the rabbit hole. And some of you, this could be an issue, right? Where if you have gifts and you can get to the other side and that may benefit you, if you're like afraid to touch the taboo, you know, you may find some over there that's beneficial. Maybe that's where you belong. Maybe you have gifts. We've been talking about the divine child and all of that stuff. So as we get into the extended, I just wanted to say what's crossing the Queen of Swords would be the King of Wands and the Star. So if I think about what the King of Wands and the Star have in common, because two cards coming out, it's like challenging me to make sense of it as if one card flew. Now, I think about some of you where it's like passed down, hereditary possibly, as we're talking about fears. I think about others of you where the Father of Wands talks about the senses, the third eye, telepathy, and then the Star would be celestial beings, your gift, your higher self, Aquarian energy, Leo energy, and it's kind of like a communication. Didn't I say something about receiving or receptivity and this communication? So for some of you, it's just a frequency or a vibration that you're not used to, but you have a gift. Okay, so we'll talk about those gifts, more about shadow work. This energy is in the sky. The star is in the sky. The Queen of Swords is the wind. So we have Aquarius, I think Libra and Leo here. And I hope to see you guys on the other side. Until next time, namaste.